Alrighty. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It's Doc from North America. Just another fun-filled day. Was it? It's it's Thursday, right? Day before TGIF, if there's such a thing when we're planting things and growing things. But anyway, here we go. Let's see what's going on here today. What do I have there? Oh yeah, crude is getting knocked down. Everything's getting knocked down. I think it's like a little flavor of the virus and profit taking, and just all the good things that always occur. Uh, can we hear me? Do I hear myself now? Yes, we do. Okay, excellent. We got sound there, and so that's what we're really looking at the moment is just a lot of profit taking and a little uncertainty. They cannot if it's not rioting, they need to do like tell us how something's not working. With the virus. In other words, the flu, the hyper flu that China exported to us. How wonderful! And I see today the EU is mentioning that they're running around, which is rare for them to be actually have some accurate information, but they are actually pushing a subject, which is kind of surprising. All right, there's the euro this morning. You can see it's moving down, the dollar's moving up. Obviously, there is some nervousness in the financial markets in general, and so they're selling. I guess they're running right to the dollar as they usually do. So it's always funny, in the sense of like odd funny, why they do, but they do. I mean, in other words, there's nowhere else to go on the planet when you're trying to move that sum of equity. Large sums of money. So forth and so on. Nobody else could handle it. And obviously the Chinese, who like to pretend that they're actually a major power, financial power, don't even trade 1% of their currency, or at least less than 1% of their currency is used in world trade. So again, they can't run there. They can't run to. They try to run to Europe. Europe is relatively firm, but it still is not the replacement we all hoped for when we helped to develop the euro unit or the euro currency. But it is something better than nothing. And obviously, like I said, the Chinese have nothing at all. The Japanese have something, but being in a recession for 30 some odd years kind of probably chases money away from China, from Japan, more than anything else. There's probably they were willing to invest only in so much, and it's really an island of its own, no pun intended, when it comes to the financial structure of it. So anyway, there you go. You can see the euro is moving down. Let's find our fact check sheet, our spreadsheet. Here it comes. See where we are today. Last I looked, we were still, at least on the spreadsheet, we've been in a buy. That's line 14, and you can see 3 weeks in a buy, 12 days in a buy on the daily trend. 3 weeks in a buy, and the weekly trend going on a fourth. We'll go over to the Chicago Quant Algo and take a look at that. There's cable. Cable had moved out, took a nice little dive there. It was up in the 28s yesterday. And let's check it out here in the euro. There it is right there. And as you can see, it's not really breaking the zero line here. So the white line is still above the histogram. As you can see, is just breaking down a little bit right there, -5. Just sitting down there on the edge. But you can see the weekly is still firm. We are not, as you can see on line 14, we are not visiting 110.94 at the moment. I think more than anything else, what we're really seeing is just a little digestion, like anything else. It's you have to, the markets have run up. They've gone pretty much where we were expecting them to. They went to the bottom of our Dow Jones range, then they went to the top of our Dow Jones range and stopped, and now we've literally dropped over almost 1,000 points now from that point, if not more. I think we posted something in one of the magazines about that last week, or last couple of weeks we've been talking about it. And here at Dukascopy, obviously, Doc's here every day, so I ramble about it all the time. And we've been talking about the V bottom here for like 9 or 10 weeks, especially when you go down to the indices down here on line 27 and 28. In particular, you can also see the DAX and the FTSE, but you can see ours in the United States here of the NASDAQ 100, or what Dukascopy calls the Tech 100, right there. And you can see the pressure on it. It was making a new all-time high again yesterday. We are at least, let's see, the old all-time high was like 97.40 or something like that. So, I mean, we are still 150 points away. I would imagine that they take a shot at it. You know, I mean, just classic, you know, highs, lows, supports, resistance. Hey, Robin, how you doing? Just basically that is what is really going on, is that markets don't have really clear direction. Had a long conversation this morning, my God, or texting this morning with one of the old traders. I know he's not listening. I've tried to teach him how to connect to this half a dozen times, but he never seems to be able to figure it out. He's in his 80s, former chairman of one of the exchanges and on major committees at the NASDAQ and so forth, and everywhere else, or the Brokers Association, probably more than the NASDAQ. And, and the end result is that he was like, when is the Fed going to, when is it all going to fall apart? I said, it's not going to fall apart. It can't fall apart. It's just an evolution. It's just like, Monsanto developing a seed, and and a few of the other companies making seeds that just found ways to work around a lot of the problems of growing. And it's an evolution, and maybe it has some hollow carbs at times, but overall it has an ability to feed more than it does to starve. So that is what it's all about. Excellent. We are getting we are 77 and overcast. Supposedly we are going to get some rain, so the plants are going to be happy. So we're going to be very happy, and I don't have to do anything out there today because of it. I'm happy about that. But I do enjoy the growing seasons. What do we got going on here now? So anyway, that's where we are with that. And like I said, you can see the euro is not really taking that big a hit. But let's take a look at the cable and see what the cable is doing right there. Let's put it up on J4X at the same time. Cable on the wall. Who's the fairest pairs of them all? You, cable. There we are. Yeah, look at that nosedive. I know I could have sworn I saw it in the 28s last night. Yeah, there you go. Look at that. The high was 28.12. 28.12. So it was a rock and roll. We got the action. We were looking for that. And some nice move on the upside. Again, I think that I really do think that we're going to still see weaker dollar. Just today's just a little digestion of it, and I keep on expecting a little bit weaker dollar so that monies from outside the states could get in and pay and buy something, soybeans or meal or something, corn, wheat, whatever, buy it all. Oats must be the biggie right now, the way oats had been running all along. But I do expect to see the dollar weaken more and more and more. But not dramatically weak, just consistently weak, and in a slow, easy range. I guess that's the best way to describe it. So, all right, let's see, where else are we at on that? Oh yeah, let's take a look at the cable too on the spreadsheet, or our, as I like to call it, the fact check sheet. Now, I've come up with that. Since everything is so politically correct now. The fact check sheet. This is something we document every day. We're probably the only analyst, technical analysis, quantitative group, prognication, I guess it's called. I don't know. I can't get the word out, but it means basically that we document our numbers for decades right here, every day, how accurate we have been and how accurate we are. And so that is what that is all about. And you can see here cable is having its issues. Now, cable came in also on the upside. It was 12 days in the daily buy, and it was 2 weeks in the daily buy. And you can see from our dotted line there. Let's see what the algo is saying. The algo has actually got it underneath into the sell. So if it closes there, maybe it'll do a little bit more flavor testing, I guess you could say. In other words, digesting and see what we can do. No, not that. We just want to expand it so you can see it better like there. There we go. And you can see it's there. It's trying to push under. So, oh, hey, 54. I hate when I disagree with you, Doc. It scares me. I'm looking for strong dollar on short term. Well, you're seeing it. It's happening in front of your eyes. We are seeing stronger dollar right now. But I don't think it's got much to do about nothing. I mean, honestly, I think that maybe you get a couple days out of this. I don't know. We'll see. The numbers will tell us the truth. They always do. So I guess you're looking for like 106 in the dollar or something like that. I think, aren't you? I mean, you're looking for like par on the euro and 122 on the pound. Speaking of which, what's Canada doing today? I get it. I do get it. It's just that, you know, ever since they outlawed the New York Stock Exchange in 1975, I mean, they couldn't close it. It took a long time for it to close. Now they've got, they basically, the ICE owns it. They use it as an advertisement or a prop. It's just, you're going to see the dollar, constantly long-term firm, okay? But there are going to be pockets where, like now, where we've been going down for a few weeks. You can see it on our spreadsheet. DXY has been in a weekly sell for 4 weeks there. So, let's see. It's all about debt. I don't think it has anything to do with debt. Most of the debt is in dollars for countries and institutions to pay their debt. They need to buy dollars. You ever see how these central banks lend each other currencies? I have, and it's weird. It's truly weird. So they don't even have to go into the market. Remember, it's not like old days where they have to print this stuff. It's not like you're trying to add more bushels or less bushels physically. When you're adding more dollars or less dollars, it's done on a line item on a spreadsheet. So it's not the same game. I know a lot of people would like it to be, but it doesn't work that way anymore. It just doesn't. I mean, it would be cool if it did. It would be easier to measure. You could trade by it like we used to trade by it, 2 and 3 decades ago. But those days are gone. This is a central bank world now, and they are involved in anything and everything. They may buy corn if they want to buy dollars and not buy the dollars. So they may buy corn and sell euros instead of buying dollars. I mean, anything denominated in dollars that have a very large sum, they will use as an alternate or a surrogate. And so those days are kind of gone, where they print a lot of money. And then you get this inflation, and you go, oh my God, I know I can buy gold, or I can buy this, or I can buy that. Those days are gone. They don't exist anymore, and they're not going to exist. And I keep on trying to show evidence of it all the time, and our math shows it all the time. But I know a lot of people. I have a friend, like I said, he's in his 80s. He's renowned in the financial industry. He's texting me this morning 5 or 6 times about, when is the Fed going to roll, when's it all going to fall apart? It's like, no, it's not going to fall apart. It doesn't fall apart. It doesn't work that way. When you have the ability to, the only way it could fall apart is if Russia and the European Union and England and the Commonwealth and, Japan and, a dozen other financial centers of some form disregarded the dollar altogether and had an alternate product. Then it could fall apart. Well, with the socialism climbing all over the planet at the moment, it's really removing that potential right there alone. I mean, it really isn't there. Tell one reason to buy euro on supply and demand. There is none. It's just math. Tourism to Europe, buy cars, buy machinery, etc. All these are just not there. Right, exactly. So no reason to rush towards it more than, I would say that not most, but probably a majority of the action in the euro is because of the negative zero equities. And what do they have? 13, 14 trillion, not billion, not million, trillion with a T, like in Tom Sawyer. It's just not, there's nothing there. There's just nothing there. Yeah, I mean, the companies, the competition, Until you see that, then you can start thinking about a weak dollar. Like a real, dollar is going to go away type of thing. But you can't. You're not going to get that until that, and nobody. The Japanese economy doesn't have the power to do it. The Chinese economy surely has no power almost at all. I mean, they don't have a currency. You got to have a currency. You want to be the world, the world superpower of finance. You got to have a currency. You just can't talk it. You got to walk it. All hat and no cattle. And that hat's got that little pointy thing going on. Really, it's not even like in Texas. So no. We're going to see the central banks. It's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Since nobody else is willing to do capitalism, right? Wouldn't it be nice if the Russian Federation adopted more laws that protected equity, and then they used all those natural resources to become the superpower that the Chinese want to pretend they are? Now you would have a little shot at it. They got nuclear weapons. They've got all the natural resources you would want. They're in the top 3 manufacturers of oil throughout the whole Russian Federation. They have an educated workforce. They have kind of position. They've got property on the Pacific. They got property on, well, I guess you could say the Baltic more than the Atlantic. But, possibly so there, Hey, MHB, how you doing? Oh, I'm doing all right. Just dealing with the reality of it all, and pontificating and watching. We've been accurate. So we're really happy about that. That's always nice, to be accurate, and we're always happy because we're always accurate. And we're always accurate because we're always happy. I guess something like that. It's like the snake eating the tail or something like that. So anyway, yeah, we're all doing good here. How about you? I hope all things good. So here we are. We're looking at these the dollar and the commodities and all like that, trying to figure out where's the tell. Matter of fact, that's what the headline of the last 2 webinars have been that pairs trades that match up to different commodities. Like in the case of the NASCAD, it matches to oil in a same relationship. Whereas we're starting to watch AUD. Let's go there. Watch AUD or Euro AUD. Let's go to that. Euro AUD matching inversely to the stock market. So I imagine this morning we're going to be seeing the Euro AUD up. Up, up, and away in my beautiful, beautiful balloon. Whee, see? It tried to do it yesterday. They both closed up, but we didn't get, we had the red and the green. So obviously now it becomes the buy, but we couldn't declare it the buy then. But it's what have you done for me lately, obviously, Doc? And that is you didn't give me that trade. All we could do is tell you not to be short. And that's where that is now, right there. Let's fix it so it looks on a daily type of characteristic, like so. And there we go. And so, and you can see here, let's see what's going on here. Let's go over to J4X because you have a better visual of it. And that is Euro Aussie. There it is right there. Is it Euro Aussie? Yeah, Euro Aussie. And so there it is right there, moving up. Moving on up. And I had an apartment, I think it was. It was not, it was like a block and a half away. Like I was at Lexington at 92nd Street. And the building that they did that TV show on, moving on up, the Smiths or the Kleins or I don't know what it was, Good Times or whatever it was. And it was right around the corner, or like a block and a half away. Okay, there we go. So anyway, moving on up onto the east side. All right, and you can see here the Euro Aussie is moving up, doing the inverse to the stock market. And you can see here the last couple of days it's been going up, and we can go take a look at the S&P 500, which is a goodie to do. Moving on up. And it's been moving on down. See? The inverse. And so we're always looking around at those things. Hey, great. Oh, thank you, Richard. I appreciate it. That's where we are. Wow. Look at the way it's falling on J4X. Like a rock. Look at that, baby. It's a waterfall. I remember, I know, now I'm as usually as in my delirium, but I remember, at school, many decades ago now, I remember being in my electromagnetism class, and everybody was like, so tell us, what does Niagara Falls really look like? It's like, since I wasn't in the United States at that moment in time in my electromagnetism class. And that reminds me of the Niagara Falls there. Anyway, okay. Let's see. What else can we say about any of this? Anybody got a question out there? A product? Can we dissect something, or should I just keep on marching through all these products here in different velocities? I myself always like to look at any product someone likes to look at. I don't care, Turkish lira, gold, cable, Canadian soybeans, you name it, we'll look at it. You never know where we will find the next tip-off of pairs trades. What's cattle look like? All right, let's try that then. S&P 500 is the first support next to 320, 3020. Good question there, I guess, or statement. I just follow the math. If it keeps on falling, the only support I really think about is that the all-time high of about 2 weeks ago in the Nasdaq 100 or the Tech 100. I think that maybe that will be support, that type of thing. But yeah, I bet if I threw up, let's just throw that chart up for you real. Oh, we got the chart up there. Okay, so what are you saying? 331.05. Yeah. Oh, we're already there, aren't we? No. 3020. Oh, okay, down to here. Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that being some type of, support because of the high here and that there and all that. Yeah, I could see that happening. And the math seems to say that's what it wants to do right now. So, all right. What did Robin say? Robin said cattle. Okay, let's go look at cattle. Where are we here? I was looking at cattle this morning because I was comparing it. No, that was Zooey. Something from A Wonderful Life. Zuzu. I was looking at meal. That's right. Let's look at cattle. Cattle, where are you, cattle? I know I have cattle on here. That's meal, and that's meal. Wait a second. We got two meals there. Oh, okay. So let's go to one of them and go to cattle. There we are. Yeah, I was doing some tightening up. Let's check that out. Check it out. Soybeans? Soy meal? Yeah. Yeah, that's what that is. Do you want to see cattle or you want to see soy meal? Well, I have another chart over there for that. I was looking at the two different gas lines for it and trying to tighten them up a little bit more. We're always trying to advance not advance or keep everything tight. Luckily, we don't have to do it too often, once a decade it seems like. But always looking. I'm always experimenting. My old nickname was the Ongoing Research Project. So all I do is study and work. Bingo. Let's see. That would be cattle, ZL, right? Yeah, ZL. We can go to Augie Doggy. Let's do the Augie Doggy cattle. Ote. And then I got meal underneath it though. Let me put the weekly in that too of cattle. You want to see both? I wish you'd said that before I was changing it. All right. What's the logic here? If I change it back to meal, then I don't have to change it one time more. Okay. We'll go back to meal. So we'll go cancel. And we'll go to meal. Caught me just in time. I'm like the subways. Let's see, Z. Where's I'm looking for again? Oh, ZMs. ZM, there it is, right there. Back the meal again. Okay, there we go. You can see it's still on the weekly sell. It's been there since, I guess, where is it at? Let me put a line in there since we're moving things around. Right there. Been in a weekly sell since that action in here, that topping out. And we still haven't gotten plus yet. We play with it a little bit. You can see some dailies we've done here. And we were over in the daily, I think we were daily buy for a few days back, as you can see there with the green dots, but we're starting to roll over again. And let's see, what else do we got going on there more than anything else? What else can I say about that? Yeah, we pushed into the sell a few days ago right there. So do we have a little line we can throw in there? Where's our little line? Where's my little friend? In there. Make it thinnish. Thinnerish. So I thought I made it reddish. But yeah, there's the meal. I don't see anything particular going on. I'd imagine again the commodities have become a surrogate, and so anything traded in a very large, like oil, beans, corn, wheat, anything that's being exported and moved around in dollars can become a surrogate for these central banks. That's why they're keeping everything in channels. They try to keep everything in channels. They're trying to keep them under control. So if they want to buy British pounds but they don't want to sell dollars, they can go sell one of the commodities, oil, beans, the big ones, things that actually have gravitas when it comes to the global financial exchange. And so the dollar, the pairs trades of old are not really a pair trade of two anymore. They are more like a three-legged stool, like as if you were milking a cow back in yesteryear. And if you were the small guy in the family, they would always throw you underneath the cow to do the milking. Anyway, so then what happens is that you have, so what you have is that third leg can be like, you could put a label on that. It could be like almost anything major in commodities that's traded in dollars. It could literally be bonds. They could be selling bonds. Because if it's denominated in dollars, when you sell it, that means you have to buy dollars, so that makes you short dollars. And if that's no different really than trying to sell something. So in other words, if they were buying cable and selling dollars, well, they don't have to sell the dollars, so they don't increase the inventory out there. And they go with something that's floating around that's very liquid at the moment. I am sure that you could look at the way the central banks and the Federal Reserve do things nowadays. It's like an engine, where one piston is going up and one piston is halfway down and another one is all the way down and another one is 2/3 of the way up and another one's 2/3 of the way down and so forth, depending on how many pistons you have there. And so, I think that's pretty much what we're really seeing. So when you see currency trading nowadays, that's why we're reaching more for the different pairs trades that seem to match up with different commodities and assets. This way we get a flavor of what maybe the central banks, how they're trading the pairs trades with those particular products. And so that's what we are doing nowadays, is we're searching around trying to see if we can see the tell. It's like the global card game. We're trying to see if the other players at the table have their tell. So far, our math is keeping us very, very on the right path. And so we're just going to keep on looking for those different pairs trades that synchronize with different different sectors and so forth. Let me take a sip of water. Where is a sip of water? There's a sip of water. So, okay, what else was there? What did you say, Robin? You want soybeans or cattle? Which one do you want? You got three things up there. You got what's cattle look like? Let's go take a look at cattle. But this way I didn't have to do too much changing. All right, so now let's go to, I mean, I don't mind changing. I'm just trying to do expediency, like let's see if we can be efficient and get more things done. Like no-till versus doing it 2 times, if not 3, and spraying at the same time. All right, format. Come on. Let me format. Cattle. Well, that didn't do it. Let's try that again. What's that? ZL, right? Why am I not getting this? Oh, I see what's going on. ZL, there we go. I don't think there's enough. I don't know what the export is in cattle. I haven't really looked at that in a long while. I should look at that to see if it has the ability to have an influence. I wonder, in some ways, if you combined it with Australia and a few of the other countries that are ag strong and mineral strong, that could be some interesting insight. That could be. I've never really tried to put cattle to to the pairs trades whatsoever, but maybe today we learned something. I mean, we have put corn to it, and we've seen wheat work with it, and beans. We've seen oil work with it. We're seeing Aussie work with stocks. We're seeing New Zealand and Canadian working with oil. So, now where am I? Back to this again? Okay, let's try that like that. And L. There we go. I think we're supposed to be doing August though, right? Let's do August. And then I got to go fix the other one again. Instead of Rocktober. Both. But it's become a very interesting game. Like I said, a lot of people are frustrated because they like 54. They want to see. It's like, what's that Maguire film with Tom Cruise? Show me the money. And they want to see the inflation. They want to see the physical attributes of the mistakes. And there's no physical attributes of the mistakes. They're just not there, And let's move the J4X to. Let's go to. Let's see. Let's put the euro in there for interest's sake. Or you know what? Let's put CAD in there. There's CAD. And there is, what are we looking at? Oh, cattle, yeah. So that's starting to move down too. Matter of fact, that's been in a cell a little bit further back, it looks like to me. Let's just double check it. Let's see, what is that? I think I have, okay, this is Oggy Doggies, not June. Let's see if we can find, or not August, not June. Let's see, where are we at there? There you go. See what that looks like. Yeah, see, that's having issues. It's been breaking down, and it's still moving down, and the weekly is holding up in here, isn't it? Oh, that's a 7, not a 5. I think that's the other thing about this too, is that I need to put a 5 in there. I think that's what we use. So let's do that also. So if we go like this, format indicator, and that'll straighten that out. And here's line 5 right there. And let's see, come on, you can do this. Properties, 2, 3, close, and turn that one off. There we are. And it's a little on the edge there. I think that's because, I'm not sure exactly. The feed on this particular machine is a little different than the other one, so it's catching overnight stuff more, and so it kind of accentuates stuff sometimes a little bit differently, but they all line up together in the end. And that's where is that no? Wait a minute, where's 5 at? There's 5. So that's on. That's off. Okay, good. And so that's where we're at now. You can see that the cattle is trying to move back down again. It seems to have topped out in here over the last 4 days or so, and don't know what else is going on there more than that. And this is a 24-hour one, not the exchange one. I think we run the exchange one for our charting service. So, all right. Is there a relationship to that? Well, you can see Canadian's been moving down, so that's not really. I mean, this was strong and plateaued. And let's go take a look at some of the other products. Let's see if we can find something. I was thinking Aussie myself. One time they were really big in cattle. Wonder what Aussie New Zealand looks like. That pairs trade with it. Now that does seem to match up, doesn't it? You know, you got to figure between sheep, kiwis, cattle. You know, you got to figure something in there has got to blend. Let's see what that looks like. This thing's been a maniac. I mean, this was in this long turd drive. I mean, 17 days in a buy. It's just doing the topping out like the way cattle is. But this thing climbed. Whereas I guess when you put the Aussie New Zealand together with it, it smooths it out much more. You can see it's more of an upwardly incline. But, you know, constantly playing, see that line there? Kind of playing that center range, that action there. So you can see here, actually on J4X, it's starting to tell us that they're banging it down towards the lows. So we'll see. Maybe this thing rolls over with it. Is that how that looks? That looks somewhat like that. And then what is this? This is back to March. There we go. And bring this to... Nah, that's almost like the inverse to it, isn't it? That's literally the inverse to it. You know, that's what we've seen with this Euro Aussie. It's literally an inverse relationship. Now, again, that's currencies. It's a good example of the currencies being totally commingled with the commodities at this point. That they're using. I mean, when you're trying to move hundreds of millions and and billions of dollars, you don't see too many hundreds of billions, but you do see 30, 40, 50 billion being moved. You know, you're trying to lose the least amount of slippage of the value, and that's where the central banks come in by playing this game of using different surrogates. This way they're not disrupting the overall, what's the word I'm looking for? They like to keep things steady, consistent. They try not to allow things to get out of hand. And so they don't want any particular currency going flying up, and they don't want any particular commodity to go flying down. They want them to go sideways. That seems to be the mantra of the central banks across the planet, is the least amount of change is the better. Now, in capitalism, change is good. It drives ingenuity and exploration of ideas and new products and so forth. But that seems to it's a conflict to the status quo type environment. So we're really trapped in a situation where we don't get a chance to really see what 54 is asking for, the inflation and where was it? Let me read some of it again. Disagree with you, Doc. Looking for stronger dollar, like the stronger dollar, or it is all about the debt. Most of the debt is in dollars. Things like that. Looking for that inflation. Matter of fact, yesterday, Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, came out and said, "Please give me a little inflation." He says we've been He started saying something, and then he not contradicted himself, but changed the way he started what he was expressing, and said, inflation. We don't see any, and then he started to kind of backtrack and said, we would love to see, and then he kind of backtracked from that, and he said, we've been looking for inflation. He stumbled on his words even. In other words, he couldn't get it out fast enough to say, geez, can't we have just a little inflation? Just a little. Just something that, we were, I think how he said it, he said something like we, not look forward, but he used something like that. comfortable with an increase of some inflation. And he used another word that was very genteel, about it. And the markets moved up on that, and then then start saying something else, and the markets moved down on that. So it goes back and forth there, and so that's where we really are at the moment. All right. Anybody else want to see anything? Anything else, Robin? You want to see? If not, anybody else want to see anything? Did any pairs trades or oils or whatever? These are all now that third leg of the stool of the pairs trades. They are anything enormously large that's traded internationally in dollars becomes a surrogate for the adjustment of that currency. So no wonder many times, I don't know, how many sheep do you have to balance out to a shipload of oil or something like that? I guess it wouldn't surprise me if 54. If you really want to go with look for the numbers in an old-fashioned pre-1975, but definitely 2008, situation. You probably want to see try to start looking for values like a shipload of oil versus a shipload of sheep, and look at the values of it and see how many move and so forth. You know what I mean? There's one. I love MHB. Thank you. I love those things. And then we'll go to oil. We'll go to GBP, JPY. Is it JPY? Yeah, JPY, and then we'll jump from there to oil. But I would imagine that would be, a real numbers cruncher of old in analysis. Like a W.D. Gann flying an airplane over buying an airplane. At the turn of the invention of the airplane, just to fly over crops to be able to see how well they were growing. You literally want to measure import exports of things like oil and sheep and meat and so forth. You would want to put all those things against each other probably in a no pun intended, a dollar term. In other words, measuring it in dollar terms. But yeah, let's see. So let's go to GBP yen right there. Ooh, spiking down just like it is against the dollar. I don't know if that's a spike, but we'll see in a few seconds when it fills in. It is going down. As you can see, the dollar, where is it at? Dollar yen, line 19. So we're 3 days in a sell, but we're 3 days in 3 weeks in a buy. So it's kind of in that neutral situation with us. And it's trading at, let's see what else. Let's go look at it through the quant first. You can see it's doing the waterfall also. What am I doing here? I knew I was going somewhere. I had something in my head. Where was it? Oh, I know it. It was up in quant. We want to take a look at it on the quant level too at the same time. So we go over to the currencies again. I think we have this in there because someone's been asking for it, and it's been kind of fun to look at. I really like the exotic pairs more than the major pairs sometimes. They seem to have some real insight. They really do. They have some real insight. Okay, so what do we got there? There's euro. And what are we looking at again? This is GBP. So let's go find, there's euro GBP, euro yen right there. Let's look at that and slide it in there. So you can see this is rolling over too at the same time. And that's euro yen. And then let's put the GBP in there and see what that looks like. Oh God, Goldman Sachs. They're just trying to sell you something. Every time Goldman Sachs they say something about that this is going to go to like 20 something, they're more than likely need to buy it. They're probably short it. That's the way it always is with Goldman Sachs. If they say it's going down and it's up, chances are they're short it and they're talking their book. But, since we don't have a Securities Exchange Commission that actually cares anymore, how long did they let Bernie Madoff go on? I complained about Bernie Madoff in 2001. I complained about him, and they did nothing. So, they let Goldman Sachs say what they want to say, and it doesn't really matter. Just because they'll make a bunch of profits from it this year, if let's say right now they're more than likely they're short the thing on some level. Okay, so there it is in the same pattern as the euro the euro yen. And you can see it here. Same, they're both rolling over with like no problem at all there. Just rolling, baby, rolling. You can see there's the weekly right there. It's still in a weekly buy, but it then moved into the dailies. Right there, the last 2 days it's been in a daily sell. Today and yesterday. So that's where we are with that one. So now, who else was next? Oh, so 54 wants to see oil. See, MHB, exotics give profit or loss faster than majors. You know, I really think MHB, I think they're more accurate. That's the thing that's really got me much more enjoying them, is that they seem to be more accurate. They follow, the math really loves them. You know, I mean, there's less squiggles, pie pieces. Highly immoral they are. Yeah, what else is new? To be honest and objective. Oh, yeah, they have no credibility whatsoever. Throw that credibility right out the door. Yeah. Let's drift over to, what was it? Oil? Yeah, let's go find oil. Oh, no, we went to the wrong one there. There we go. And then, let's see. Oil. There it is right there. All right, and you can see there it's trying to get into a sell after, what are we up on the spreadsheet here? We have 5 weeks in a weekly buy, 9 days in a daily buy. Every time I walk by my my tanks, I think, oh my God, I got to put more fuel in this suckers. It's dirt cheap. And then let's look at it over here. Yeah. Right there, light sweet crude, Texas tea. And you can see it's trying to do the waterfall thing too, right there. And as you can see on our spreadsheet, like I said, and we're looking for 34.74 for the weekly sell there. So yeah, I don't think they're doing any real damage to it. I don't know if it's immoral, but what it is it's not. You're not allowed to talk your book. In other words, if you're short in another part of the company, oil, and you have another part of the company telling the public it's going back to 25. You know, that's not true. They should say, you know, we are also, for our clients, we've been recommending short, and they've been getting their heads handed to them. So we need to tell the rest of the market. I mean, they really need to, what is it called? Fair disclosure, FD. You know, they need to use the FD a little bit more, and they don't. And that's really irritating about it all. So, you know, if Goldman says be long, chances are they need to sell. And if Goldman says, you know, watch this product go to 25, more than likely they need to buy. You know, they talk their book. All right, what else can we look at here? Let's see. Oh, you know, we didn't go to our Turkish lira until somebody else asked me for a product. We're going to go to our Turkish lira and just take a look at it. 27 weeks in a weekly buy on that one. Now I just have to figure out where it's at. Oh, there it is right there. Okay, Turkish lira right there. And it's going back up again as usual. Turkish lira right there, 27 weeks in a weekly buy, 5 days in a daily buy. So it's pressing up, as you can see. Whoop, 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 whoop. Let's put it down on J4X. It's a little bit more visible that way. Did I answer your question on the crude oil? We can go back to it if I didn't answer the right question. You can see there, same thing. It's been moving up. You can see the lines are moving up. You can see on our quant, you know, it's been in a little buy there and a weekly buy from all the way back there. Ugh, look at that. Boy, what a trend. Reminds me of Enron and 27 weeks, amazing. Yeah, I know. I've seen a couple other products do it. I think it was Marvel Comic Books did it before they went bankrupt on the downside. Was it Marvel or one of those comic book things that got bought up by one of those Hollywood companies, and it was in a weekly sell? Corning Glassware. I saw that do 27 weeks twice. So it went from like 200 and something down to like $26 a share over a 1.5-year period, and we were in weekly sells 2 times, like 23 or 27, one or the other. And then Enron, the oil company, I saw that do that also. That did it twice. went 27 weeks. That I do remember, 27 weeks in a sell, 3 weeks in a buy, 27 more weeks in a sell, then a couple weeks in a buy, and then bankruptcy from there. So, okay, good 54. I'm glad about that. What was going on with Canadian? I mean, I looked at it more for the correlation, trying to figure out the correlation of the pair than what that our product was doing. Let's just go back to it really quick. I just want to see what Canadian's doing. Okay, so they're lifting it up a little bit today. Okay. Well, look at that bottoming thing going on there on the J4X. And then let's see what it looks like on the Chicago Quad. Canada. Oh, Canada. Yeah, doing the same thing. And definitely through. And where are we on the spready sheet? 12 weeks, 3 weeks in a sell, 12 days in a sell, and we're turning up. And yesterday's green and red gave us the warning sign, so we knew not to be short anymore. We just didn't get long, that's all. It's not supposed to, because we're in a weekly sell. But we know one thing, it's better to not be trapped. 54. It's better not to be trapped than in other words, I'd rather not make money and also not lose money than lose money. So I'd rather be neutral. And in other words, there's times let the crop settle, let it grow. And so try not to fight with these math numbers, somebody. 54. And so, no, 54, you do a fine job trading in between the lines. You do. You read the math very well. And you do your best. You are notorious for being long in a weekly sell, but in a daily buy and playing with that and actually succeeding. And that's the only nimble traders can do that. So for the rest of yous out there, be careful. Don't fight the math too much. 54 gets away with it. At least we hope he keeps on getting away with it too. I'm always pro trader. I don't care if you're long or short, as long as you're trading and and doing your thing. I'll never fight with anybody about it. I just say, just look at the numbers. Follow the numbers. If it ain't knee high by the 4th of July, then it ain't growing. All right. Just like what we used to say on the trading floors, we always used to say, I'd rather be lucky than smart. So I'm right there with you. I would rather be lucky than smart. All right, what else do we got going on here? Let's take a look at Swiss. Let's see how the Swiss is doing here today. It's been interesting to watch it slide down. That is line 21. That would be an interesting one. That's a safe haven, and it's like the dollar. What would be interesting is probably looking at some pairs trades with the Swiss and some of the commodities. That might be interesting. To try to do some correlation. I think I'm going to try to do a little homework on that. Because if there's really a second currency out there that kind of, I don't want to call the word emulate, but actually participate in the marketplace like the dollar, the Swiss acts like the dollar, or the dollar acts like the Swiss, or the Swiss acts like the dollar. Anyway, they both act the same. So that might be something for us to watch. And you can see this really, it's been rolling over, and you can see there a couple weeks in a sell. It's good distance away, almost 2 full handles away from the weekly buy number at this point. 5 days in a sell. You can see J4X is buried down at the bottom. It's like waiting and waiting and waiting. When are we going to go back in a buy? Can we go in a buy now? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Aren't we at the buy yet? You can see it there in our math. It's been rolling over in there. We did this hiccup. We were in a sell from here, right there, and then it went into the buy one day, and then came right back out of it and told you, don't reach for me, sell me. And that's really what's going on there. The product is rolling over. So what else do we can say about any of it? We're coming down towards the end. If anybody wants to know where anything is particularly, fire it out. We've got a couple more minutes. But I think today we are still on the magical tour of pairs and what makes them trade. And it's, that's really where we're at nowadays, is we're really trying to understand the pairs And it's not just two sides anymore. And that's really the challenge. Try to keep up with the central banks and the Federal Reserve's trading desks and match up to the games that they're playing, I guess. Or maybe it's a harsh word there, games they're playing. Maybe we should say, how they trade the markets and try not to get in their way. Because you surely don't want to fight the Fed, that's for sure. Don't fight the Fed. And don't fight your central banks, because they have too much equity. And they are going to get away with whatever they want to do. And it's just going to stay that way. And I don't see any ending to it. So, MHB, good seeing you in town. Haven't seen you in a while. I like it when you pop in and out. Glad you stopped into the hood. Welcome to the hood. All right. Let's see what else we got going on there. Let me think. Let's take a look at what else can we see on the J4X here. I guess we should take a look at, let's look at the ruble. I always keep on thinking ruble is a key to understanding some of these currencies like the rand and the won, the Chinese yuan, and the Turkish lira. I always think that is we're always thinking this thing wants to go down in value. I'm really big on that. Basically, I think what we're really seeing now is pairs and how the pairs trades relate and what is making them move. And we know that it's not necessarily looking at, like 54 said, like the fundamentals, inflation and debt, and they need to buy dollars because they will lend, and they do report it. They do report this 54. They will lend. The Federal Reserve will lend dollars to, like, the Exchequer or the ECB or other central banks, and lend it to them, and it doesn't make it into the marketplace to disturb the trend. What's going on. And so that is really, I guess you can say that is really what we're dealing with. That's why we look at the different products now. Anything denominated, traded in dollars, is well worth trying to look at and look for the correlation too. All right. Anyway, we've had enough fun today. This is Doc from North America. Please come back and ask questions and tell me what you see, what you know, what you think, what you'd like to know. Who am I? Why am I? Kant. Why I exist? I think for I am. That's what it is. Doc saying bye-bye.